Hello there, people who watch me. I am Mr.Attacker 56. Probably might change that name later. It's a little bit of a mouthful for me lately. Ah. Alright, I've already watched a minute of this, seeing if it was just nonsense, but also I haven't made a video in a very long time. So why not do something easy and see if they get anything right? I mean anything.
Top interest, they say, one of their top public policy priorities, disarming the population. Just a decade ago, about a quarter of candidates backed by the NRA were in fact Democrats. Now the number of NRA-backed House Democrats is 3. Meanwhile, a new poll of Democrats in early primary states says their top issue after single-payer health care is repealing the Second Amendment in order to ban guns. Richard Goodstein is a lawyer.
Too bad they can't do that, since that's, a right they can't. I can't think of words, but they can't do that. It's unamendable, right? If they did do that, there would be riots on the street, worse than any we've seen so far.
Former advisor to Bill and Hillary Clinton, and he joins us tonight. Richard, thanks for coming on.
Sure.
So is this really the time, as the country's becoming more chaotic, to disarm the population?
Yeah. So I can't really speak for these people who responded to this poll. I can tell you what Nancy Pelosi is talking about, what House Democrats are talking about, which is background checks, which 90% plus of the public support.
He has not bought a gun before. There are background checks. You can't just... Let's say I committed a felony, like stealing a car or stabbing someone. I wouldn't be able to buy a gun. If I have a felony in my name, I could not buy a gun. But I don't have any felonies, so I could buy a gun, but I'm just poor. So, fuck you, Mr. We need background checks. Mr. I never bought a gun. Mr. No one should have guns. Fuck you.
Which got 54 votes in the Senate when it was Toomey and Manchin putting a bill to require gun background checks.
I mean, we've been through this a million times,
Yeah.
but if Democrats polled in what seems like a legitimate poll say their number 2 issue after socialized medicine is repealing the Second Amendment, preparatory to disarming the population, there are going to be calls for that. If the voters want it, their representatives will call for it. Is this the time, and should it make the rest of us a little nervous as America's getting crazier, obviously,
some weird signs,
to disarm normal people?
Yeah. Again, I just don't buy the notion that that was a legit poll, that even a quarter of Democrats think repealing the Second Amendment.
What do you think of that?
What I think the Democrats are saying is what Justice Scalia said in the famous Heller decision, the one case that really went to the Supreme Court, where he said a person has a right to a handgun to protect their home, period, and that legitimate regulation of guns in terms of places.
I have a right to a handgun, yeah, but most criminals come in with handguns too. I would like to have a bigger gun than the criminal, like for say a shotgun or a rifle, an AR perhaps, or a 12 gauge. Are those not options? What about people who like to hunt, or need to hunt, for food? And including trophy hunters. I mean, I don't support trophy hunting, but it's still a thing. It costs... Okay, I'm gonna just not make myself sound like a dick.
That they can't be taken, schools, places that, conditions on their sale.
We have all those laws already. I mean,
but I'm saying those. So no one's talking about repealing that.
No, people are, and let's stop lying just for a second.
Yeah.
You're not going to stop mass shootings, really, unless you take all the guns away. That's the truth. And everyone knows it. Be honest.
Oh, you can't take all the guns away. There's more guns here. There's more guns than people in America. So you can't just get rid of them. And plus, you don't have to buy them to get them. You can get them illegally. That's how a majority of shooters happen. Well, actually, I don't know that to be 100%, but hey, it happens. And disarming people ain't gonna fix anything. As a matter of fact, it'll make everything worse. We have guns so the government doesn't take us over. The founding fathers fought this shit out. This guy's the voice of reason right here, sort of. I mean, he's the only one speaking legitimately here. I mean, I don't agree with everything he says, but he makes more sense than this guy.
That's kind of the goal, and everyone really knows that. And I'm just wondering, like, what's the argument here? So if you're arguing simultaneously that the police are racist and can't be trusted, which Beto and lots of other candidates have argued, and also that the population can't be trusted to defend itself or have firearms, what are you really saying?
I think what Democrats are saying, and frankly, Republicans wish they had been saying it, because the ones backed by the NRA, Barbara Comstock, Mike Hoffman in Colorado, lost to Democrats saying we want background check laws and so forth. And what they're saying is that things have gotten out of whack. The United States is unique in the world. It's not a mental health problem. There are mental health problems everywhere else in the world, but we have this horrible gun problem here.
No,
so
what gun problem?
Most Americans are not a threat to anybody. And this is what makes me nervous, is a small percentage of people commit the overwhelming majority of shootings, but we're not thinking clearly about how to disarm them. All of these laws apply to me. I pose no threat to anyone, and I really want to be able to defend myself. I know you do too. So why not leave me out of it and normal people out of it who pose no conceivable threat and focus on the potential threats? But no one's ever up for doing that.
May I just say something real quick? Normally when mass shootings happen, people blame the guns. I don't really hear the news talk about the people who shot the gun. The gun didn't do nothing. Gun just is an inanimate object. I put a gun on a table, tell the gun to shoot the person across the table. Gun won't do it. I have to pick up the gun and pull the trigger myself. They haven't made guns that shoot people for you yet. I don't ever want anyone ever will. Guns will run the world if we do that. Got a Terminator problem on our hands. Alright, so let's let them finish their conversation. This guy's making real sense here. Asking questions. This guy has no good answer for it.
Yeah,
right.
We all have to be disarmed. Why?
Well, again, no one's talking about disarming anybody.
No,
What officials are saying is we should have background checks so lunatics don't have the access to guns.
The most recent shooting, and many of these shootings have been committed by people who went through background checks. Stephen Paddock went through a background check. The latest shooter, obviously, who you just saw in California, went through a background check. The truth is, it's not just background checks, which nobody really opposes. It's limiting the kind of firearms you can buy, limiting the size of the magazines you can use, limiting the kinds of ammunition you can purchase. These are laws, restrictions that affect normal people who should be able to defend themselves. Why is that?
But when you say that nobody really opposes, when you get Republican leaders here, please ask them to affirm the fact that they don't oppose. Well, it's relevant. Because you start, look,
but hold on,
remember we
have background. I mean, let's be serious.
Yeah.
Background checks are, I buy guns, so I know.
Right.
They're in place. You go through them when you buy a gun. Why would
this guy's 100% better in my opinion. He's bought a gun. He knows the method of getting a gun.
magazine restriction or an ammo restriction or a so-called assault rifle restriction apply to me? Why am I not trusted to buy any kind of gun I want? I'm confused, honestly.
Well, again, the analogy I would use is to the ways we basically made cars safer. There used to be a lot more fatalities on the road, and we instituted
There is still a shit ton of fatalities on the road.
things like seatbelts and airbags and other things, vehicles that could basically crush without crushing the passenger, and background checks is the first way to go.
No, but then why? No, sincere question though. The assault rifle ban, a gun that looks scary, should be banned, okay? That's the position, and a lot of candidates say they should be confiscated. Why should my right to buy that gun be abridged? Why can't I be? No, it is, though.
Well, no one's being, if you object to being...
Why shouldn't I be able to buy that gun? I'm an American citizen. I don't pose a threat to anybody. Why can't I have that gun?
I think the concern is that people get their hands on assault weapons who commit these crimes. If you want to use...
Okay, this guy's a dumbass. He's not putting up any form of argument. And this other guy over here, just rewind it just a smidge bit. This guy's making the most sense. He's bought a gun. He's asking the question, why can't I have this AR-15? Okay, that gun isn't banned, but you know, one day they might ban it. Why can't I have this particular assault rifle? Why can't I have this much ammo? Why can't I have this long a clip? Because assholes like this, because a few shootings of people who got either A, got the guns legally, and who went past the background checks, checked out. People still blame the gun. They should blame the FBI and shit like that for false background checks. Yeah. Oh, God damn it. Man, this gun problem's gone out of hand.
I think the concern is that people get their hands on assault weapons who commit these crimes. If you want to use your assault weapon on a range, guess what? Go to a range and keep your gun there and use it there.
Maybe I want it in my house. And why? I don't understand. So
you want an assault weapon to defend your house.
What you're saying is we don't trust the population of the country. We don't think you're...
Now, if you use an a quote-unquote assault weapon on the range, it's no longer an assault weapon. It's just a weapon. Or a toy at that point. Not a weapon. A toy. A toy that can blow your brains out, of course, but... And it's no longer an assault weapon. You're not using it to assault anything except for maybe a target. So, therefore, it's no longer an assault weapon. Assault is only used when you're assaulting something. Like, I could have an assault rock. Are you going to press charge? Are you going to make assault rocks illegal?
Autonomous, we don't think you ought to be able to make these decisions for yourself. We just don't trust you. And I'm saying, why would I ever vote for someone who wouldn't trust me to have an AR-15 at home, honestly?
Well, again, it's like saying we didn't trust people to drive without seatbelts or airbags and so forth, but we instituted things that were going to make people safer. What we're saying is
at the cost of our rights, maybe.
And you do use a firearm to defend yourself. And why wouldn't you trust... No. Why wouldn't you trust? There are 330 million people in the country. Hundreds of millions of them pose no conceivable threat to anybody.
Right.
So why can't we think of a law that spares them these regulations? Is anybody even trying to think of that?
Of course they are. But
really? Who?
Well, but again, we're taking it step by step.
Good question.
Step by step.
Yes, we are.
And ask any suburban mother. That's the problem politically, is that these people that you lost last time are going to be lost because they don't want more guns in school.
The left is making this country chaotic and scary. Yeah. And simultaneously trying to keep me from defending myself.
The voters just happen not to buy what you just said.
I don't care.
And that's why the Democrats won.
I don't care. Okay. We'll see.
Yeah.
Richard, thank you.
Thank you.
Wow! This was